Alright guys, what's going on today? So, my name is P0 or PO17, whichever you prefer to call me, and I wanted to bring you a special video today. So as you can see in front, there are two CRT screens both playing SimCity for the Super Nintendo. Now, these screens both differ. One of them, especially on the left, and I'll brighten up the screen for you to show, is a CRT TV, specifically a consumer set, by Samsung. This is my Samsung Dynaflat 14-inch. On my right, I have a video monitor, professional video monitor. This is my Sony SSM 14N1U. Right now, both of them are running composite, showing SimCity, and I wanted to make this video as a comparison video to those who are looking for a nice CRT set to be able to play their old video games on. Now, if you are in the market for a CRT and you're looking around and you find that, you find a TV and you think, oh, that's pretty cool. But then you stumble across a video monitor. Sometimes you'll see them as PVMs, especially if they're a Sony. And you'll think, wow, these video monitors are really cool because a lot of people are talking so nice about them. They have a much nicer image. They're overall just super nice for 240p and everything like that. And to an extent, you're not wrong. CRT video monitors are actually known for having better image quality and just some better features for people who like to play video games in general, but that's not all true. So what I'm going to do is go over a little bit of the features between both and kind of their ups and downsides to really nail it down as to what is right for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the very first thing that everybody says is the nicest thing about CRT video monitors: their image quality. And you know what? For the most part, you're not wrong. CRT video monitors are known for having very nice image quality because of their purpose that they were built for. They are commercial monitors used in broadcasting, medical equipment, even CCTV monitors. So what you want is a more focus on a more accurate and more detailed image. And the way to do that is by having a nicer looking screen. Typically speaking, Sony video monitors and video monitors in general will have much higher TV line counts, which will typically mean that you'll have a higher display resolution, or I wouldn't say really display resolution, but just a higher resolution in general to be able to resolve how an image looks, whether it's on 240p or 480i. On a consumer set, usually it's a bit lower quality tubes. Not always, but sometimes with lower TV line counts, and in general just a more soft image. There's usually not as much of a scanline effect that you get on a consumer set, even though you will sometimes get them. It depends really on the TV and how good the set is. On a video monitor, for the most part, you're always going to have a really nice scanline effect. It's usually going to be very thick and noticeable. And for most people who are playing games at 240p, they want that, and that's perfectly fine. Also, for this comparison's sake, I did want to note that both of these are on composite right now, just to try and give the best one-to-one comparison. But anyways, so yes, when it comes to image quality, you are not wrong. The video monitor is super good. However, that's pretty much its only strong suit aside from one other thing, and I'll get into it here right now. Another thing you might want to consider in terms of the video monitor versus a CRT consumer set is your input type. So, for the most part on CRT TVs in general, they will more often than not come with RF and composite. Now, you will have some of the higher end or newer sets that do come with S-Video, and occasionally, especially on the larger TVs that are newer, will come with component. However, there are some small TVs that do come with component as well, which is pretty rare, but they were there. On video monitors, you're more likely to get composite and S-Video paired together. Not always. Sometimes you will just have composite only, but for the most part, you'll have S-Video there as well. And S-Video is a really, really nice input, and it's a very good substitute if you don't have component or RGB. Now, that's another thing. One of the really big strong suits of a video monitor as to why you would get one is because sometimes the higher end ones, especially on PVMs, come with RGB. And that's a thing that's not really common in North America here because we used composite inputs as the standard. So we really didn't have access to RGB in these CRT consumer sets. So having RGB in general is really awesome. Now, if you're from Europe, you're really lucky. I mean, you get RGB through SCART. Yeah, we got 60 hertz though. But that's one big strong suit of a video monitor as to why you would consider it. Now, does that mean that the CRT TV is bad? No, not at all. And here's one of the reasons why. And I'll show you here just right now. So, right now I have a game on the GameCube turned on. This is actually F-Zero GX. Now, why did I turn on this game in particular? Well, this game runs in 480i, not 240p. And there's something that a lot of people miss when comparing video monitors to TVs like these. Most people are like, hands down, image quality on video monitors are better than consumer sets just because of the more accurate image, the sharper image, all that. Well, it's actually not true for 480i for the most part. Typically speaking, you'll see it on the larger video monitors. For example, my JVC up there, that's a 19-inch. This here is a 13-inch, so it's not as bad. But because of the higher resolution and sharper tube that you get, at 480i, this is kind of a huge hindrance to a video monitor, is that you will notice the interlacing on 480i much more than you will on a consumer set. And I mean, it's bad. And in some cases, it's so bad, especially to me, that it's distracting. And I honestly hate it. So for a game like F-Zero, or in general, like any sort of Wii or GameCube game, PS2 for the most part, and Xbox as well, I prefer to play these games on a CRT TV. No questions asked. Now for 240p, it's no questions asked the other way around. Video monitor has the much nicer image. It's just so. But for 480i, no, not at all. In my experience, I have hated playing 480i on video monitors like these, especially that JVC. There's a reason why I have this JVC here, is because at 480i, this thing sucks. And I've done it as well with a PVM that I've owned in the past. It was a 1953 MD. Also just horrendous for 480i. I hate them. Now, that doesn't mean that they're terrible, because you might have a different experience. You might actually like how it looks on a CRT video monitor, just because overall the image is technically still a little bit cleaner. But on a consumer set, because of the softness of it, it actually plays into an advantage. So that's kind of the thing with these TVs that you have to keep in mind is, are you really playing more like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, NES, these older 240p consoles, even N64, PS1, Sega Saturn, or are you mainly playing stuff closer to 6th generation like the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, etc.? For me, I play on both. So I typically try to make a compromise, and that's why I usually like playing on CRT TVs. Because on a TV, well, usually on a sharper TV, it'll look great for both 240p and 480i. So that's one big thing you do have to keep in mind when it comes to image quality. 240p, or TLDR, 240p, Sony, the video monitor all the way wins. For 480i, I much prefer CRT TVs. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to the next part. And this is actually another win for the CRT TV, and that's the audio. 9 times out of 10 on a video monitor, the audio is not its main focus. Now, there are some video monitors, like presentation monitors and whatnot, that will have stereo inputs and hookups that are really nice. But for the most part, you're going to get kind of like what this Sony SSM has. A mono speaker that is very quiet and not all that great. And in fact, if you're looking at my Elmo video monitor up there, that's even worse. It's actually very tinny sounding. So, with a nice CRT TV, especially like my Samsung here, you get stereo audio. Super nice, super loud, super good. And overall, it adds to the experience of when you're playing your video games, so you do keep that in mind when you're looking for your next choice. Do you want convenience, which is what a TV is, or do you want image quality, which is what a video monitor has? Alright, so the last thing you want to keep in mind between a CRT TV and a video monitor primarily is going to be the price. So, for the most part, you're going to find more CRT TVs than you will video monitors on stuff like Facebook Marketplace, which will tempt you to look at eBay. Now, as I have said in the past, or as in general, I don't really like eBay for CRTs, typically because consumer sets are almost all the time overpriced, and the same goes with video monitors. They're almost always overpriced. They're like $300-400, it's insane. But if you're really looking to spend the money on image quality, go right ahead. I mean, who's to judge? I'm not going to be using your money to determine what you want to do with it. If you really like image quality and you're okay with spending a couple $100s on something that looks pretty nice, perfect. That's fine by me. Now, you'll usually find CRT TVs for free as well, sometimes for a low price, or if they say retro gaming on them, typically for $100-200. Don't buy those ones, please. Those ones are ripoffs. You can find TVs like these for free if you look hard enough. Now, sometimes you will have to get a little bit desperate, and it's just how it is, depending on where you live. But when it comes to video monitors in comparison, it really is a big difference in price. Like, for example, this Sony Trinitron can be $150, $200, even $250 easily, while this Samsung you could easily find for free. It's just kind of how it is nowadays, and unfortunately, that's usually what you'll end up paying for stuff like this. But, does it make it bad? No, of course not. It's just bad if you end up overpaying for something, and I don't want you to regret your decision, depending on which way you go. So, with that in mind, if you want image quality over anything, if you just want the best image possible out of a CRT, whether it's for 240p or 480i, actually it's mainly for just 240p, because I already told you about 480i, go with the video monitor. You'll almost always be satisfied with everything that it comes with. Has much more features in general in terms of its inputs. Its serviceability usually is easier, especially if it has a service menu. 9 times out of 10, it's much easier to access than a TV service menu. However, if you want a more, in my opinion, authentic experience, just due to the fact that here in America we mainly use composite, go with the CRT TV, because that's what most people had back in the day, whether you were a kid or whether you were a young adult playing these older video games at the time. Now, like I said, that's not to say that the video monitor is bad in that case. It's just for me personally, I had a more authentic experience playing with the TV. So, with that in mind, that's pretty much all I have when it comes to comparison between these two CRTs. So yeah, convenience, go with the CRT TV, and for the most part, in my opinion, the nostalgia factor. But if you want something super duper nice, go with the video monitor. If you're running 480i, go with the consumer set anyways, because the video monitor's not going to look that good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought, tell me if it helped you or whatnot in terms of your search for your next CRT. And in general, just have the best gaming experience you could possibly have with any CRT that you come across. So thank you so much again for watching. I look forward to talking with you and hearing more from you in the next video.